Welcome back to the show. Details of a potential deal between Dubai World and its creditors have emerged. A report, and it's only a report at the moment, suggests the troubled conglomerate may offer creditors just 60 cents on the dollar after 7 years as part of a deal to reschedule its $22 billion worth of debt. UK Business Secretary Peter Mandelson told a delegates' lunch in the Emirates that time is running out for Dubai. For Dubai World at least, to reach a deal. And Dubai's handling of the crisis will affect its ability to attract future investment. Well, let's get a wider discussion on the banking system and indeed the economic environment in the Middle East. We're joined by Mr. Seetharaman, who is the Chief Executive of Doha Bank. Sir, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Very nice to see you again. In terms of, well, let's just get this Dubai story out of the way first of all, before we talk about Qatar and the broader banking sector. How much does a headline like this affect the perception that international investors have of the whole region? Is it damaging for the whole region every time we see another Dubai headline?
Well, we are in a globalized world. There's always a breaking news sensation on account of the interpretation, instantaneous communications. I think it's all speculations. Let's understand the Gulf as a whole. It's a very stable and functional commodity-driven economy. We are going to report this year $148 billion surplus, 6 countries put together. And as a percentage of GDP, the surplus will be almost around 14%. That's the reality. The oil price has been budgeted at $50. Today, it's costing 70 plus. So there is no systemic risk in real response. But we have seen the debt restructuring world over. Canary Wharf has done it in the 90s. Kazakhstan is doing it. Why only Dubai is singled out?
Yeah, and I don't think the world has a problem with the resource base and hence the sovereign wealth of the Middle East. I think people are very appreciative of the fact that it is one of the largest parts of the energy complex at the moment, with known reserves perhaps even greater than the share of actual reserves which it's pumping out on a daily basis. The point being, it's the diversification in the Middle East which has led to these issues, not necessarily in the banking sector, but certainly in property and tourism as well. And Dubai isn't the only culprit there. Hence my concern that this building boom we've seen, this property explosion, is not just a Dubai issue.
UAE is a country like United States, like UK. This year, according to the financial plans, it's going to report 5.8 billion minimum as surplus, taking oil and diversified resources. 7 states as put together as a federation. UAE is what you should look at. Conceptually, that is stronger. That's going to report fiscal surplus, current account surplus, investable surplus, and they've got sovereign funds. If you look at the foreign assets which the Gulf states have got, compared to the foreign liabilities they have, is very, very limited. That's the point. Well, asset cushion, what we have, is what we need to look at the systemic risk.
Do you believe that Abu Dhabi residents, and I've spoken to quite a few of them over the years, do you think they appreciate that they're part of the UAE rather than having to bail out Dubai? Because my understanding, and please correct me, you're in the region a hell of a lot more than I am, my understanding is Abu Dhabi absolutely resents what Dubai has got itself into and resents having to bail them out. Let's
talk about economics. Pure economics, as a UAE, as a country, as defined by the UN Charter, conceptually is stronger. That's what the matter is all about. The rest of the economies have been responding. Why to take it as systemic risk? Qatar, for example, is a telling story. Today, if you have one country in the world which has got huge amount of character and commitment, that's Qatar, in terms of political progression, economic progression, social progression. Last year, in spite of the global crisis, we reported 9.7% as GDP growth. This year, 2010, we are going to demonstrate not less than 16%. Look at Saudi today. Moody's are upgraded. So let us look at the positive as well as negative points instead of taking one side of the coin.
Can I ask you about currency union, the planned currency union in the region? We've heard this morning from the UAE central bank governor saying that the country is not discussing rejoining. They pulled out, of course, from this plan sometime last year. Qatar is still in this project. How do you see this progressing? Do you see this as a very positive thing for the region?
Well, it's a question of getting this convergence. It's happening. Out of 6 countries, 4 countries have signed off. In December in Kuwait, the GCC leaders have got together. They have agreed to set up a monetary council. Qatar is a party to it, Saudi is a party to it, Bahrain is a party to it, Kuwait is a party to it. Conceptually, they have to set in discipline in terms of the legal framework, structural framework in setting up the whole currency union itself. That's what is evolving. It will happen. In terms of bilateral trade, investment, banking and finance, to promote as a bloc, I'm sure the rest of them will join as well. It is a question of time. It will converge.
One of the things I'm always worried about, specifically for Dubai, it's the terrorism risk, which nobody ever seems to think about. But, you know, for me, all those big buildings, one small bomb, and it seems to me amazing in this world, as you say, we're a global world with breaking news, that there's never been any terrorist activity there. How do you think that it would react if there was a terrorist incident? And it's got a very large immigrant population. It's close to some places that are not very safe. How would the world react to that?
The Dubai model is a true liberalization. Your security market has opened up. Your financial centers have come in. Your real estate market has opened up. If you look at demographic structure, you have, as you rightly said, you know, it's very well diversified. We are living together. The world is an immigrant society today, right from the United States to New Zealand. So it's a question of bringing that culture into perspective. That's what Dubai has rightly done. Some of the very, very positive globalization, liberalization, deregulation framework Dubai has taught the rest of the models, rest of the world, and clearly you can interpret the negative side of it, but it's only incidental to the frame. The positive values are more in terms of liberalization, and that's what I will count on.
Let's talk about your bank now. We've talked a lot about broader issues as well. 10.1% growth in your fourth quarter net profit was your most recent set of figures. One analyst I noticed talking about your bank after the numbers saying, well, we're starting 2010 with a clean slate. Is that the truth? So would you say that non-performing loan issues that, dare I say it, affect the concerns over areas such as Dubai, do you think you can move forward with a clean slate and grow that figure in 2010? Well,
banking is all about managing the risk in the current context. The world is still under ICU. Clearly, the stimulus and quantitative easing is what is reflecting as recovery. The world is not recovered, let's face it. Whether it is stock market, currency market, commodity market, it's all multiple messages are being passed on to manage the consumer sentiments. We have to look at the enterprise risk, market risk, and liquidity risk, counterparty risk more than anything else. The financial markets are still in trouble. Kazakhstan, for example. So we have a clean balance sheet. We are going to build it. We also have to look at the overall growth in the economy. The trade cycle is there. Definitely we can consolidate our operation and optimize our operations, and decent return we can generate, I'm sure.
Let's get back to the Dubai issue in one way, because if there are assets being offered at 60 cents on the dollar, again, it's all speculation at the moment. We haven't had confirmation. Is there opportunity there to pick up cheap assets?
It's possible. See, every crisis is an opportunity. Clearly, I foresee there will be positive values out of this crisis as well. So clearly the banks are very cautious, conservative in making sure they don't want to have cross-border definition beyond their framework. And central bank is a fine central bank, and they are measuring it, managing it, and controlling it productively. We will look at objectively and see how to take it forward.
All right, so look, thank you very much indeed for joining us. You're on your way to New York, yeah?
Right, I'm coming from New York.
Coming back from New York. And how was your trip out there?
Oh, very good. Excellent.
Do you get an impression that things are turning around out there?
Yes, there are positive sentiments again. Somebody asked me whether Greece and the United States are comparable. The United States is a very strong economy. It's going to be the reserve currency for the century as well. Let's not conceptually underestimate the potentials of a political democracy.
You've got a line on Greece, sir. Any thoughts about Greece as a banker?
Well, Greece will come out again. What is the percentage of GDP in euro terms? 2.6%. Yeah. So you can consolidate and converge.
We'll leave it there, sir. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Safe journey home. Mr. Seetharaman, Chief Executive of Doha Bank. Plus, we'll continue our focus on Dubai.